morning, folks. Welcome to That's My Farm. I'm Jim Schroyer, your host, and we're in luck because we're in the Ag Engineering Department, and we have Ajay Sharda, Assistant Professor in the department, going to talk to us about precision agriculture. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after these words from our sponsors. See you in a minute.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Welcome back to That's My Farm. I'm Jim Schroyer, your host, and with us we have Dr. Ajay Sharda, Assistant Professor in the Department of Ag Engineering. And Ajay, thanks for being on the show. And we're going to be talking about precision ag. So tell me, kind of give us a definition and a little short history of precision ag.
Sure, Jim. Thank you for having me over. Precision ag, from where we started all, we wanted to learn more about our fields. We want to have better information about our soils, better information about our yields from those areas, and we want to be smarter about making decisions on input use and its management.
Better efficiency.
Better efficiency. Yeah, because better efficiency probably will drive to more profitability. That was our goal. You know, I want to have dollars and cents at the end of the year. That is what I earn. That is where I do my business.
Right.
So that was a big goal. And if you allow me, I would say that it all started around 1995, 96 when the GPS and the yield monitor starts to show up in the market. There were some early adopters about that technology who were very excited to kind of try out what those systems are and what they have to offer for their production system. So during the time period of 95, 2000, there were some early adopters looking at, you know, what an automated guidance or a GPS in terms of giving me some idea on where I am on my field and the idea about yields can give me. So that is what I called was the first phase of some
precision ag
getting started.
The next phase.
The next phase was what I put, and I really want to give credit to Terry Griffin. We are working on some paper, but that came from that discussion. Is the second phase is 2000 to 2005, where you start to see technologies like section control, you know, technologies which started to move from more mechanical to pneumatic control, or hydraulic system starts to show up. Now I can turn on and off my, you know, planter row units or my boom sections. I can turn on and off, and that was around the time when then some individual nozzle control was, you know, kind of around to show up. You know, so that way I have some information on what I want to do from my yield monitors. I have some assistance on my guidance, and now I can turn things on and off based on where I want to put my input, less or more.
Okay, the next section.
The next section I put is in terms of 2005 and 2010, where people start to use variable rate technology. I can vary the rate of fertilizer, pesticide, and seeds, and so on and so forth. And final stage, which I call now, is people are using all this information to make smart decisions on input use, management, and its application.
Okay, and so now you're talking about single rows, basically.
Right, exactly.
You're turning on and off single rows, single booms, that sort of thing.
Absolutely. Now we have systems where we can apply product accurately in terms of what that individual nozzle has to do, or a single planter or row unit has to do in terms of, you know, putting nutrients or chemicals or seeds from
Ajay, we've got to take a break, and we've got a planter behind us we're going to start talking about when we get back.
Sure,
so we've got to take a break. Folks, we'll be right back after these words from our sponsors.
To see this show and past episodes of Ag AM in Kansas, go online to agamInKansas.com.
Imagine everything you could ever dream about when it comes to horses. Those dreams come true at the 21st Annual Equipest, coming to Topeka, Kansas in February at the Kansas Expo Center, the largest equine expo in the Midwest, with shopping, food, clinics, workshops, and more. World-class trainers, over 100 horses performing throughout the 3 days, displaying a variety of breeds, disciplines, demonstrations, and competitions. Vendors from all over the U.S. and non-stop entertainment. If you love horses, join us at Equipest of Kansas in Topeka, Kansas. Get tickets at equipestofks.com.
PFI Western Store, home of Boot Daddy, proud to be part of Equifest. PFI, located at 65 on Battlefield in Springfield, Missouri. Spend $50 at PFI and get a Boot Daddy hoodie for only $10.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Welcome back to That's My Farm. I'm Jim Schroyer, and Dr. Ajay Sharda from Ag Engineering here at K-State is still with us. He didn't run off during the break. Thank you, Ajay. You know, looking at this planter, it looks like a sci-fi planter because it's not anything like the box planters that I'm used to. So, Ajay, tell us what's new in the way of planters.
Sure, Jim. So the planters of today's age are much different than what we used to have before. I would say 3 to 5, 6 years ago. The major change, or one of the significant change which has happened on the planter, is that now we have electric motors driving my seed metering units rather than mechanical or hydraulic systems with a lot of sprockets and gears and and chain drives and worm gears and so on and so forth.
Those sprockets caused a lot of baldness. People pulling their hairs out on which sprocket goes where.
Absolutely right. If you have to maintain a planter over the season, you have to take off tons of sprockets, shafts, gears, maintain them.
Corn,
exactly. Whether
beans,
it is corn or beans and all that
or Milo.
Yep,
right.
Yep.
Okay.
So the one thing I want to point out here is that this is the heart and soul of the entire thing, which we call as there's an electric motor. Now this electric motor has has a little gearbox inbuilt in it. And there's a very important component which is called planter control module.
Planter control module.
Row control module.
Okay.
So what this does is that it gets all the information in terms of what is the instantaneous speed of this row unit. It gets what population I have to plant, and then it decide what RPM I should spin this metering plate to get my right population
in that row.
In that particular row. So that is one of the biggest advantages of the newer planting systems that we have nowadays.
And again, it's called a row.
It's called row control module.
Row control module. Okay.
Row control module, because it is controlling how that individual row is gonna behave.
Okay.
You can also have an added advantage of if it is a we can talk about something about multi-hybrid thing, but if you want to do a multi-hybrid aspect, it will have the aspect of which seed type it has to plant, and then if you have two of those units, one can switch off and other can come on if you are planting two hybrids side by side.
Oh, I see. Okay. It looks pretty simple. I mean, there's no gaskets. It seems pretty simple.
It is very simple. The only thing is, if you see here, that I have a motor, I have a shaft, and I have a seed metering plate on top of it.
Okay.
And there are a few shims on the back which make sure that the plate doesn't rub on the back, and my amperage on my motor is maintained, so it is running free and without any obstructions from behind.
And this cuts down on your singles and doubles and that sort of thing.
Yes. So this decides how much seed has to come on the box, and this portion decides how do I want to set on my singulation. Another thing I want to point when you talk about box planter, that these planters are seed on demand. There is no seed here. The seed is continuously fed into my metering unit. So now I'm maintaining a constant downforce as well. There is a constant weight on my row unit. When you have
that's right. Okay, we have a full box of seed versus on demand.
So we got it. Seed in demand. Yeah.
AJ, we got to take a break. Okay, folks, we'll be right back after these words from our sponsors. See you in a second.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways. Of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at KFRM.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Hi, I'm Randy.
And I'm Paul from PFI.
We would like to personally invite you to stop by PFI, home of Boot Daddies.
PFI is America's Western store covering over 50,000 square feet.
Over 25,000 boots.
Visit Saddle City with the largest selection of saddles and tack anywhere.
A huge selection of hats at Big Spur Hat Company in PFI Town.
And choose from the best brands of clothing and accessories for the entire family.
PFI, located on Highway 65 at the Battlefield exit in Springfield. And I'm not kidding.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Welcome back to That's My Farm. Dr. Ajay Sharda from Ag Engineering is with us. And Ajay, we talked a little bit about the electric unit here. I noticed a lot of wires on this planter. Right. What are some of the other functions that we might have or see in this new style of planter?
Yes, Jim. So, you know, with having these electric motors, it provides a lot of scalability and additional functionality which comes at little to no cost to the producers.
The scalability?
Scalability.
Okay.
So when I talk about scalability, means that if I want to add a functionality of contour farming or turn compensation, I only have to add a small piece of software and nothing else. Now, for example, in our older planters, when I'm turning on rows or when I'm planting along the contours, all of my row units are planting at same RPM. Means
right.
if I'm turning on my left, then there are
the outside rows planting going faster than the inside.
Yes.
Right.
So you have spaced out seeds and two tighter,
right, higher population.
Higher population. Now, what the turn compensation feature does is that it tells each row unit its own speed, and now it can slow down and speed up the RPM of that row unit to maintain the exact spacing and population you need in the field.
Right. So the inside row is going to be planting at 28,000 or whatever, and so is the outside.
So
row.
is the outside, because in other cases you might be planting the difference could be 15, 20, 30,000 population, seed population. That is one very good example on that.
Okay.
Another thing is electric seed meters have given us a functionality that we are now capable of having a multi-hybrid planting system. So when I talk about multi-hybrid means I can have two of these electric row units sitting side by side.
On the same row?
On the same row. And then I have a seed tender which have a hybrid A and hybrid B. Now we talk about I was sending population and speed to this row control module. I'm sending, and I have another information on whether I'm planting hybrid A or hybrid B. Now, when it knows that I am planting hybrid B, this row is going to shut off, and the other row unit is going to start up to plant the hybrid I want. So when you talk about some of the older planter systems with mechanical or hydraulic systems, we were not able to do that kind of a thing. We would not have been able to do that kind of thing.
Ajay, thank you. We've got to take a break.
Thank you.
Folks, we'll be right back after these words from our sponsor.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways. Of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at KFRM.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
As fourth-generation farmers themselves, Heinen Brothers Ag Service understands the risk and rewards of farming. So when it comes to quality aerial and ground application, fertilizer, ag chemicals, and anhydrous ammonia, call Heinen Brothers Ag today, 800-760-4964. As fourth-generation farmers themselves, Heinen Brothers Ag Service understands the risk and rewards of farming. So when it comes to quality aerial and ground application, fertilizer, ag chemicals, and anhydrous ammonia, call Heinen Brothers Ag today, 800-760-4964.
Hi, I'm Kim Mandring with Hardy Insurance. I'm here to help you with all of your farm and ranch needs. When it comes to protecting your operation and your family, you need a name you can trust at a price you can afford. Call me today or visit hardyaviationins.com.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Welcome back to That's My Farm. I'm Jim Schroyer. Dr. Ajay Sharda is still with us. And Ajay, we've talked about the electric motor and some of the other aspects. How about planting speed? Because I know farmers like to go fast, but they worry about dropping the right number of seeds. And we'll talk about depth later. But let's talk about speed and dropping the seed.
Okay, that's an excellent question and something I really want to discuss with growers. Now with electric seed meters, and generally when you talk about speed, most of the people want to still plant at 5 miles per hour.
Right.
That is their sweet speed, and they don't want to go faster and they don't want to go slower in terms of productivity and making sure they can hit the planting windows and all those days. Now with the newer systems, we wanted to check two things. One, how good these motors are in terms of spinning, maintaining RPM for a certain population. Second thing we wanted to check was how good they are in terms of singulation, because there are two different aspects to it. First thing, the motor has to maintain the RPM.
Right.
And then the metering unit has to singulate and put one seed at a time in terms of what I need.
Right.
What we did a lot of research over the last 2 or 3 years. We have a lab here, which is a Horsch Advanced Planting Systems lab. We have some growers. We call
on-farm studies.
Yeah, with growers in and around Manhattan. And what we learn is that these electric motors are very accurate in terms of maintaining the RPM for a certain ground speed.
Okay.
So that means that if I am going at a certain speed and I want X RPMs, they are pretty dead on in terms of what RPM they want to maintain.
Okay.
Ironically, they get more and more better if they go faster.
They get more precise?
More precise. And a lot of people ask me why, is because there is better averaging going on in terms of sampling of how fast I'm going right now and what kind of a correction I have to make to maintain, to get the right RPM. The thing I want to add is that we slow down and speed up a number of times, right, in the field. Now these motors can step up to the next needed speed in less than half a second. So if you decide to go from 6 to 7.5 to 8 miles, within half a second, it will get to that RPM of the seed plate to start giving you the spacing and the right population.
AJ, we got to take a break.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim.
We'll be right back after these words from our sponsors.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for that grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well on their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we'll be glad to answer and work with you.
Tarwater Farm and Home is a 40-year-old local family-owned business. Clothing for work and play, seeds and feeds, boots, toys for the kids, and tools you'll need for around the house and farm. And a service department to keep them in top running order. It's a big store, so take some time to see what they have for your farm and home. Tarwater's everyday pricing is like others' sale prices. When you need it, they've got it. Tarwater Farm and Home, 4107 North Topeka Boulevard.
My name is Bill Meredith from Wellington, Kansas. When I'd come down in the morning, almost cry because my back was hurting so bad. And anyway, we come up here and got this treatment, put some in my shoulders because I couldn't bend my head like this. I finally started getting my memory back, and I'm able to do about everything I was doing before, maybe more. I went outside and raised my hand and praised the Lord, you know.
This Medford, New Jersey school bus runs on biodiesel, and so do these. In fact, all of these buses run on clean-burning biodiesel, which is great because the more we use biodiesel in our heavy-duty vehicles, the less carbon pollution in our air. Think how great it would be if more of our school buses ran on biodiesel. More biodiesel, less carbon pollution. More is less. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Thanks for joining us in this last segment of That's My Farm. Dr. Ajay Sharda is with us, and you know, we've talked a lot about this planter. Last but not least is planting depth, because I know we were talking about speed in the last section, and I know from like working with grain drills, the faster you go, they come out of the ground. It's like skiing, water skiing. The faster you go, you get out of the water. So how do you keep from planting too shallow at the higher speeds?
Excellent, excellent question, Jim. And this is one of the most exciting part of the technology as well. Now, most of the planters in the market, be it Horsch or John Deere or Kinsey or Precision Planting or Agco or Case, they have a hydraulic downforce control system. So that's what that is here. That is what is here. This is a hydraulic cylinder here, and there's a brain back in the tractor cab which decides something to do based on soil conditions.
Okay.
Now, what we do in a typical situation is we set our gauge wheel, load pressure here, gauge wheel loading, depending on what depth we want to plant, right? So we go a certain distance, we see whether we are at the right depth, and I see my gauge wheel has a certain load or not.
Right.
That was one thing. Now, what happens is that when you go in the field, the soil texture can change.
Across the field.
Soil texture in combination of moisture can change.
Right.
Which can change the requirement of the opening disc in terms of the load it needs to get to the right depth.
Right. To cut through the residue, cut through the soil, down to the depth we want to drop the seed.
Absolutely. Now, when that happens, then that is a situation when that would be still right if I have the load which was the leftover load on my gauge wheels. But if I do not have enough, then I'm going to start planting shallow.
Right.
That is not good for seed root development, or it may not
crown development, right?
Or it may not just emerge at all.
Right.
And then there may be situations where this does not need that kind of loading.
Okay.
And all the load comes on my gauge wheels because they are trying to keep the disc not going deep.
Right.
Then I will have excessive sidewall compaction. And you know what happens with excessive sidewall compaction.
Right. Root development issues. Right.
And, late emergence and all
okay, I'll bite. So how do you keep from doing that?
So now what the system does is that when I've set my planter for depth and spacing and everything, I set a certain target gauge wheel load of my gauge wheel.
Right.
Now, when I need a lot more here, then it's going to take off from my gauge wheel, but my system will know that, oh, I do not have the kind of target loading I need on my gauge wheels. So it will use this hydraulic cylinder to put an extra 50 pound or 20 pound or 100 pounds to get onto to my row unit. On the contrary, if this doesn't need too much and I have a lot more, then it also senses that, oh, there is too much loading on my gauge wheel, and then it offloads that weight to maintain the consistent loading on the gauge wheel, consistent depth, and then, yeah, you rightly pointed, this is my gauge wheel load sensor, which is giving me a feedback in terms of what is the instantaneous load on my gauge wheels.
Okay. Wow. All right there.
All right there.
I'll be done.
All right there, all automatic. And some people do ask me that how quick they are. We have seen where the requirement goes up and down by up to 200 pounds, and the change happens in less than a second. So hydraulic systems are much more consistent and faster in terms of response.
AJ, I really appreciate you taking time. Appreciate you being there. This is really interesting.
Thank you.
Folks, thanks for being with us on this episode of That's My Farm. And don't forget, next week about this same time, we're going to have another one for you. See you then.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.